look, I'm not gonna overreact, I'm just gonna appropriately react. I'm PGZF baby, I'm chillin', and this is my review of Lil Wayne's new album, The Carter 6. Still one of the greatest rappers of all time, Lil Tucci, Weezy F Baby, Lil Wayne, New Orleans' finest, is back at it again with the 6th installment of his legendary The Carter series. He dropped The Carter 5 back in September of 2018, and a lot has happened since then, not in terms of just himself, but also the landscape of hip-hop. Ironically, one of the most notable songs on that album, Mona Lisa, featuring Kendrick Lamar, we now come a bit full circle here, where he has a slight beef with Kendrick Lamar, dealing with the whole Super Bowl halftime show, the spot being taken from him in a way, being in New Orleans, and also being in the midst of that Drake-Kendrick beef. So a few questions walking into this album were, was any of that drama going to be responded to within this album? We're going to hear a Drake feature perhaps on this album. And speaking of features, since it's a very highly anticipated album, where we're going to get some classic throwback features on here, some Young Money features, where we're going to get Drake, we're going to get Nicki Minaj. As we all know, those three put on great songs when they're all together. Where we're going to get Manny Fresh, which we did. But to answer the other preceding questions, the answer is basically no. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I'm glad there was no real drama or any of that BS involved in this album, just because I feel like that whole beef and that whole situation is just gone stale. And I'd like a rapper like Lil Wayne, being the veteran that he is, to move past that. So that's a good thing. Now, in terms of the anticipated features, not so much a good thing. So no, we didn't get a Drake feature. We didn't get Nicki Minaj. We didn't get Young Thug, which perhaps people talked about because they had their differences, and there is still mutual respect there. We didn't get features like that on here. Instead, the type of feature artists we got on here were Bono and Jelly Roll. If you told me 21 years ago, when I first heard Lil Wayne's Go DJ, and when that came out, that rapper would be working with the likes of Bono and Jelly Roll, I would have been like, 1, I can't believe he's working with U2's very own Bono, and 2, how is a Flavor Pastry rapping? And quite frankly, just to cut to the chase, I believe the best feature on here is from Big X The Plug, and perhaps one of the few bangers on here on the song Hip Hop. I think Big X The Plug has this, being the big and the voice that he is, I just think he has a real good mic presence during the chorus of that song. Other good notable features on here were Big Sean and 2 Chainz. Even his son Cameron Carter is here on the hook on the song Rari. Now, while it is a high-pitched, auto-tuned up chorus on the song, he is his 15-year-old son, so not really going to give him any shade for that. We have heard features from big-time rappers' kids on their albums, and this is fine to me. And we also see a song on here with Wyclef Jean and Andrea Bocelli. Yeah, definitely not on my bingo card for 2025, or any bingo card. As you can tell by the names I just rattled off, there is a lot of experimentation, to say the least, in terms of artists working with and even some sounds, which I will get to in a moment. But I do want to point out positives and what aspects of the album did sound like it would be part of the Carter series, at least as we know it. Like on the first full-length track on here, Welcome to the Carter, it's got a very traditional boom bap rap beat, as long as a very triumphant sounding and angelic vocal performance sample throughout the background. Really gives you high hopes for the rest of this album. I have a similar feeling about the closing song, Ran History. Opens up with this Muhammad Ali, his famous speech before one of his fights, a sample there. A bit of a triumphant or a ride off into the sunset type of ending to an album. Obviously, while Lil Wayne is always trying to put out the best wordplay and write out the best metaphors and try to be very clever, witty, punchy, and even funny, you have songs like the intro and the outro, and a few other tracks in the middle. He's talking about family, talking about legacy, and of course, flexing. Even talking about pride and resilience growing up in America. That's right, that topic is touched upon on the song with Bono, The Days, which is fine. It's it's a bit of a kind of a pop, rock, rap mixed ballad, which perhaps we'll get some radio play or get some play. I think it already was put on or used in one of the NBA, like an NBA commercial or maybe a promotion for the NBA Finals. But yeah, and let me dive back into the experimentation or mixed bag element of this album. Yes, there are a few songs that have a rock element to it, like The Days, or on Island Holiday with that Weezer sample. And of course on the song If I Played the Guitar with him rapping over an acoustic guitar. So giving us a little throwback of Lil Wayne's rock project days. Of course, we all love Rebirth. And then there's another experiment in the song Peanuts to an Elephant, which quite frankly just sounds like someone's first FL Studio Fruity Loops beat. It's a bad it's a bad beat, quite frankly, a bad song. Oh, and somehow just as bad of a song, or as bad of a experimental attempt, we have him with the song Moolah Coming In, with this trap, psychedelic rager type song, you know, like the Playboy Cartis and the Lil Uzi Verts out there. Very muddled and distorted bass and production, which this attempt just falls flat to me, and again, another bad song to me. But, you know, perhaps, you know, artists like Lil Wayne, veterans out there, or, you know, just in general, artists who've done so much, and, you know, they always try to branch out and experiment and try new things, perhaps just having fun with it. So if Lil Wayne's just having fun with it, you know, all power to him. But as a reviewer, and I think as some of his most dedicated fans, no pun intended there, I would believe that they would say and agree with me that those two songs should not have seen the light of day, or should not have been associated with a Carter album. And to continue on my little mini rampage here on the song Alone in the Studio with My Gun, although I do appreciate the sentiment of the song and what Lil Wayne's trying to do, he is a little oversaturated with the auto-tune, and I do find the irony of the title of that song, Alone in the Studio with My Gun, featuring MGK and Kodak Black. You know what, no disrespect to Kodak Black here, but, you know, having MGK on the chorus, Alone in the Studio with My Gun, you know, I'm not sure I'd want to be in the studio with them with a gun. But yeah, all jokes aside, there are a few bright spots on here. I know it seems like I kind of just went on a whole diatribe there. Like I said, I did like the few songs I mentioned which sounded more traditional, or sounded more like they would fit on other Carter albums, like Welcome to the Carter, like Written History, or even like Being Myself, with Manny Fresh's production on it. Oh, another highlight I forgot to mention is, you know, him, you know, rapping really aggressively over the Rock the Bells sample on the song Bells. I'm sure that song, you know, the song may hit, you know, may get some commercial play, or, you know, maybe I'll play in the gym. Maybe they'll put me on, take me back to the 80s. Okay, I'm not that old. And while Lil Wayne does have his moments and pockets of, you know, rapping his ass off and you know, trying to get personal, or at least try a semblance of, you know, here's my legacy. This is, you know, I'm still at GOAT status. It's just not hitting the same when you have so many other disjointed elements or experimentation on this album that just, quite frankly, just doesn't work. It just sounds like the artist is putting together all these things, a mixed bag, and nothing's really polished. And quite frankly, trying to keep it maybe very mainstream by throwing in guys like Bono. I know Jelly Roll's big right now. I mean, Andrea Bocelli. I mean, that's just, at that point, you know, you're really just throwing things at the wall. You know, people are talking shit online, you know, overreacting right away within 12, maybe less than 12 hours of this album's existence. People go crazy saying, oh, this is like his worst album, worst Carter album, blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm not going to overreact. I'm just going to react appropriately. And I do feel that less than 48 hours upon this recording and upon listening to this album, I will say that at the moment, it is his worst of the Carter series. I mean, this doesn't even touch Carters 1 through 4, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to go back to the Carter 5 after this, and I don't think it's touching the Carter 5 either. So at the moment, I would say it's worst the Carter album in this series. And, you know, just to give a little huff and puff like his boy, Skip Bayless, I'm just disappointed here. Yeah, these are my thoughts on this album. What are your thoughts on this album? Did you like the Carter 6? What are your favorite songs? What did you like? What did you dislike about the album? Or even this review? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you like the video, please like the video. And of course, if you want to sub, please smash the subscribe button. Subscribe to my channel for more reviews, rankings, miscellaneous shit that has to do with talking hip hop. These are my thoughts. Stay blessed.